Welcome back to my channel, guys, and this is our fifth video, and I will be covering JSX here. Okay, so what is JSX? So JSX is JavaScript XML, okay, and which is heavily used in reactJS to do write HTML, right? So JSX will power HTML, okay, so it will power up and it will help you to do a lot of dynamic things while using reactJS, right? When you write HTML, you might also require condition, you might require to run a loop, okay, you might require some kind of external component with some conditions or based on some dynamic feature. So you need to render your DOM, right? So or render your HTML in simple term. So if you need such feature, right, and flexibility on HTML, so you need JSX, and because it is mixed with reactJS, so that's when it is amazing. So we'll come to the demo part of it. So the easiest thing, you can always go through this documentation. Okay, so here if you scroll down, right, you have all of these things like why we need JSX, right? And how we can start embedding any kind of variables, or how can we do conditions, concatenations, right? All of that they have written here. We will do the demo here and I'll explain you all of these things, right? So here you see we also have a function which handles return of specific HTML, right? Based on some condition, it is returning some HTML, right? And also you can see here like they are executing inside HTML, they are executing a variable. So that is one thing I'll tell you. So here we have a link, right? So how we can create a link in JSX, how we can add an image. So all of that I will explain you in the demo. Great. So let's jump back to our VS Code. Awesome. So you can see here I have already written reactJS class 5. What is JSX? Okay, so we have this h1 tag, right? So how can we execute a variable inside JSX? So we have to just define a variable. Okay, answer. So I'm just taking a variable called answer. So what is JSX? JSX is so this is a variable we have here. So how can we execute this inside our JSX? So this part, okay, where we are returning something, so this is JSX. Okay, so basically it look like HTML but with some powers, right? So let's say I wanted to give the answer, right? So I'll say at 6, I'll just execute. So execution will always happen inside this bracket. Okay, if I execute this answer, if I just say like this answer first, you see that, so it will just render that text. Okay, so you can see that. For now I'll just minimize this one. Okay, so you see here it is just rendered this answer because it's a string, but as and when I put this brackets, right, so React will start reacting on this. Okay, so now we are executing something. So what is that? That is a variable called answer. So once I save that, it will pick up that particular data which is assigned to that variable and start rendering on the DOM. I think you have understood till here, right? Great. And you can also see here we have rendered this at 6, right? What is next? So next is conditional rendering. So let's say I have a user Rakesh. Okay, now I will define a function user HTML. Okay, so what I will do here, so I will accept user as a parameter. Okay, I'll just give name so that you will understand easily. So here I will get the user. So if user, then return some HTML. Okay, h3 I am Rakesh. Otherwise what you can do, if there is no user, so you can directly return h3 h3, you can return h3, I am xyz. Okay, so let me optimize this code little bit because it's little messy here. So let's create a folder called JSX. Okay, and I'll create part 1. So we'll say JSX part 1. Okay, so we have this function here. So what we will do, all of that will transfer, right? All of these things will transfer to that function so that our app.js will look cleaner. Okay, so I'll keep it here, and these two I'll keep it here in the return. Okay, so now you can have your answer and everything here. Now because this is empty, so what you can do here, you can quickly JSX part 1 import that particular component. So now our app.js is looking cleaner, but we still have the same answers, right? Great. So let's do now JSX part 2. Okay, so the benefit of doing multiple component is you can easily understand. Okay, here we have done the variable rendering. Okay, we have also done functional rendering, right? How we can use that here, function or variable. So now next part where we will do if else inside the JSX, right? So we can make JSX part 2. So when I will share this code to you, so it will be easier for you to understand. So React stateless component, right? So awesome. So now what we can do here, so I'll just quickly remove this div because I don't want this div to be there in our DOM extra div, right? Say we have a boolean variable class 5th, so we'll say is that a class 5th, so we'll say true, right? Okay, so you know how to execute a variable. So first we will execute here. So to execute we need these curly braces, right? So what can we do here? So there are two types you can do the conditions. So one is ternary operators, otherwise if else. So first I'll take the example of ternary operators. So you'll just say class 5th because it will execute. So we'll say question mark. So what happens here is the condition, here is the true part of it, otherwise false. Okay, so what we will do, if it is true, if it's come to the true bracket, okay, we'll say h3, right? We'll say this is class 5, okay, otherwise else case this is not a class 5. Okay, save. What we have here, we have class 5 which is a boolean, right? And we say this is class 5th or this is not a class 5th. Okay, now I'll go back to my JSX and import that JSX part 2 imported. Now let's go check that. So now what we able to render that this is class 5. If I change to false, this is not a class 5. Okay, understood. So you can wrap around anything, like if you want p tag, you can get the p tag here. Okay, so it changed to p tag. So you can always verify if you are in browser, so you can inspect the element and you can check here. Okay, great. So now the next thing is how we can do this using if conditions. So I'll just copy this same part. Okay, part 3 I'll say. So if you change there, you have to also change here. So do not generally change here. What we can do, I'll just quickly remove everything, come back to this return. I'll say if, because see we are inside JavaScript, so this is a method, this is a JavaScript method, right? If you simply understand this normal JavaScript function, so you can say if class 5th, okay, else. So what you can do here, return. So if you fall under this condition, return this, otherwise return that. So I think in part 1 also we have done that, right? It is same thing. if you are inside any function, so you can do something like this, right? So let's come back to our file. So here, this is part 3 class 5. Okay, I'll just copy the same thing. I'll just change some text. This is not, this is part 3, but not class 5. Okay, so we have this text rendered here. Okay, now let's import that JSX part 3. Let's see that. Okay, this is part 3 but not class 5. Okay, because we have kept this false. If you set to true, this is part 3 class 5th. Awesome. So now we know like how we can use if. Otherwise you wanted to do inside same component, you can also use ternary operators. So this ternary operator is heavily used, so you should go back and check that ES6 feature, right? So you can always go to this site. I really like this one, es6features.org. so it has everything. Okay, you just go through and study about that. So our next part is how we will concatenate multiple variable or multiple strings. So let's create one file, JSX part 4. Okay, so how can we merge two strings? So let's say const first name, okay, const last name. So I'm taking example, it can be an object, it can be anything, John XYZ. Okay, so if you want to execute anything, you have to put these brackets. So now, so there is something called template literals, right? So you can use this thing to merge these two things. So what you can do here, can just execute this first name, and inside that you can say last name. Okay, so before that you can also write like this is my full name is, you can say that my name is, and these two concatenations, right? You are writing as a another component, right? JSX part 4. Okay, so JSX part 4. Now this is okay, my full name is John XYZ. So let me close other files quickly. Okay, my part 4 is that, so my full name is this. So another optimized way is you can define a variable called full name. Okay, and you can pass this particular piece of thing. Okay, you can pass this here, and inside that you will pass it. So now you will have full name here. So now this string, you can just remove everything else here, and you just need to execute this because you have already done the concatenation, right? Outside, just need to run this variable, right? If you save this also return the same thing, my full name is John XYZ, right? You can wrap under anything like p tag or div or whatever. Okay, so now if you save, you have the p tag which carry this information, my full name is this. So I believe JSX is clear till this place. So you can relate and think about different possible scenarios when you actually working on the application, right? So this is very basic examples I'm giving so that you understand JSX, and while writing JSX you will not make mistakes, right? One more thing I wanted to explain before go to any image thing, so like image import and all. So I'll just create one more part, JSX part 5. Okay, so here let's see, so I'll take one object. Okay, so I'll take an object. So now before even going to return this, so what will you do? Like this is the example when you have a props, so you'll receive as an object and you will be keep doing props dot name, props dot age, so like that. So instead of doing this way, right? So generally, like, you see a lot of code like this. So object dot name, it will work. Okay, if I go back, import this component, right? JSX part 5, and I go back and check Rakesh is there, right? So now nothing wrong in it, but you, every time you come here, you have to execute, right? Let's say executing one more age. If you have gone through the dot job, okay, so if you know ES6, so you can do this a little better. Okay, it will work. See everything you got here, but how can we optimize this? You can destructure this, so you can directly use them. So okay, so I'll just quickly say BR here, time being this. Okay, so you remove this obj. So what is happening here? So you see we have all same output, but it is little organized, right? So you are not doing object dot this dot this. So try to avoid this in any of your applications, right? This is very important, okay, because a lot of people make this mistake. So just giving one small example, and this will help you to organize your props. Okay, so let's jump to the next part. Okay, so now we have this assets icon png, right? So let me create another file, JSX part 6. Okay, so best way to do that is import logo from. So you have to come out, so because you are here, right, you have to come out here one more time. Then you have assets, so you have to say dot dot slash dot dot slash. So you will see here and automatically, so assets is there, slash, you have react hyphen ic icon dot png. Okay, so you have this this particular image imported. Okay, so what you can do here, you can directly say image, and here you have to, again, because it's a variable, right, so which you have imported. So you have, so now you can see here, like, we have this logo imported, and then we have used here in the src. So now let's import this JSX sixth part. So let's see if it execute. Yeah, it has the, let me come here and just say width 500. Okay, still a little bigger, so I'll just reduce to 100. Okay, so we have this image here, right? So it comes as is, as you do in HTML, right? Similar way. Okay, this is the way you import your images. Okay, so I think we are good till here. Now as I said you, right, we are having so many imports here, so many imports in app.js. That is not good. So what can we do here? So we'll just create one index.js file, so which will take care of all of this. So we'll cut from here. Okay, so we'll paste here. So here we know, because we are already inside JSX, we'll just quickly remove this JSX from here. So I'll just quickly do in one shot. Okay, so there are two things. Okay, one, you can execute here and just render there. Otherwise, see, you can do two ways here. So you can do this way, like JS, I'll just say JSX main. Okay, I'll just say that, right, and I'll export that, export default JSX main. Okay, so now JSX main is our component. Right, so what you can do here, you can return one. So one thing we are missing, import React. Okay, let me quickly copy paste. 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, यहाँ पर we have this A, we'll keep it as this. So now we have this one, so we can import this quickly here. Yes. Okay, so now what you see here, we have just imported this JSX main, and you see same output, right? One way is this, another way is, I'll just quickly comment this part. Okay, so you can keep as is, export, so you can export these methods. Okay, you no need this React to import here. Okay, JSX part 2, so you need to comma here. Okay, JSX part 3, right? JSX part 4, JSX part 5, JSX part 6. Okay, you have exported everything here. So now what you have to do, whatever you want. Okay, so let me comment this part now. Okay, whatever you want, you can import that, like JSX part 1, right? You can see that it started getting it for you, right? So now next thing, if you want, you can just comma separate, you import that part 2. So this will help you to optimize your code in the sense of, see, now you are only exporting 2 components, right? So this component app JSX is lighter. So otherwise, in this case, right, you will be having all the components, right? We already exported or imported or rendered, right? Here you have a flexibility of rendering. So either way, it's fine. Like you can do this way or that way. So just keep it. I'll keep it this way. But for example, you have the another way, right? Great. So here I'll just quickly comment this part, enable this. Okay, so you have same output. I think now if I say JSX, so I think you have understood most of it, right? So I think we have covered all of that, I believe, like, yes, yeah, so we have covered most of it. Great, so let's end this video here, and guys, please do like, subscribe this channel. So next video will be coming on props and state. Okay, everything about props and state, and definitely you should watch that. Okay, please do subscribe my channel and like my channel and press bell icon, so that whenever I upload my next video, you should be able to see the notification and you do not miss the video. Okay, great, see you guys, bye, take care.